I'll use America since that's the largest stock market. The American stock market has been going up for the longest in American history. Never in American history has the economy and the stock market done so well for so long. Maybe it's going to go on forever. Washington says it will. Don't worry. But when Washington says don't worry, I worry. I'm delighted to be here. Yes, my name is Jim Rogers, but I don't have a job. So, maybe I shouldn't be here. I don't know. I know we cannot talk too much about that, but I will say to you, as far as investing is concerned, in other places, at the moment, I'll use America since that's the largest stock market. The American stock market has been going up for the longest in American history. Never in American history has the economy and the stock market done so well for so long. Maybe it's going to go on forever. Washington says it will. Don't worry. But when Washington says don't worry, I worry. I worry a lot. So as far as my investments are concerned, I have sold nearly all stocks all over the world. The only places I still have shares are China. The China stock market is depressed. It's one of the few stock markets in the world that's depressed. And Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is an old Soviet, whatever they call them, Soviet economy, which was ruined by the Russians. Now it's changing. And so Uzbekistan may be an extremely exciting place to make money. China may be too. So other than that, I am worried about the world. I will repeat, the U.S. stock market has had no problems for the longest in American history. So I'm very, very worried about what to do with my money. I have a lot of cash, and I have the cash mainly in U.S. dollars. The reason I have it, I mean, the U.S. is a terrible place as far as the fundamentals. The U.S. is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and it's getting worse every day. So you should say, well, why do you own U.S. dollars? And the reason I own U.S. dollars is because when the turmoil comes, people will look for a safe haven, and many people think the U.S. is a safe haven. It's not. We're the largest debtor nation in history, but because people think it's a safe haven, the U.S. dollar will go up. If it happens that way, I hope I'm smart enough to sell. And now, one of these smart panelists is going to say, well, what are you going to do with the money then? And I don't have an answer. Maybe you have an answer. I don't know where to put my money when I sell my U.S. dollars. So we will listen to them to find out.
Jim, back to you. I'll ask you two questions, one about China, one about the US. And they're kind of obvious questions. The first one is about China, and I'm sure you get this question all the time. Don't you get tired of staying in China because the stock market has not been great in recent times? And, you know, people say Xi Jinping doesn't like business, and probably he has a say on what happens in China. So what drives your continued optimism about China?
Well, I will hasten to tell you again, I make many mistakes, and I have made many mistakes in my life. If you want me to, I will tell you about my first wife. Oh my God, what a mistake that was. So I have made many mistakes, but as I look around the world, China is one of the few countries, if not the only, which is rising. China has had, in its history, it has been on top 3 or 4 times. It has collapsed 3 or 4 times in history. In my view, it is now rising again, and the Chinese market is depressed. Most stock markets around the world at the moment are at their all-time high or near their all-time high. China is depressed. That doesn't mean it's a place to buy, but as far as I can see, the Chinese government is trying to revive the economy and to revive the country. And I don't see any other markets that are depressed enough for me to buy. The United States is at an all-time high. The Japanese market was down for 35 years. That is not a typo, 35 years. Now it's gone up, it's making new highs again. I sold my Japanese shares. I sold them too soon. But I don't see many markets now that are depressed other than China. So I, for the most part, am not investing in shares in many places around the world, but China is depressed. Does that mean I'm right? Of course not. Of course not. But it is depressed, and maybe I have a little bit of protection because it is depressed.
So just spending one more minute about this, you said it's a depressed market. That assumes it's a market. When we look at the share of private sector companies in listed market caps in China, actually that goes down, not up. If you look at the last 3 years, the share of SOEs in the market cap, aggregate market cap of the top 100 listed Chinese companies has gone sharply up, not down. Are you confident it's a market?
I'm not confident of anything. I can't tell you. I'm always worried. I'm always afraid when I make an investment. Oh my gosh, am I going to make a mistake? No, I wish it were that easy. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I could just buy shares and know that I will make money? No, I'm always worried. And I am worried about my Chinese investments right now. But if I look at Japan, if I look at America, these are two major economies where the stock market's at an all-time high. China's not at an all-time high. Does that mean I'm going to make money? Of course not. But I don't see any other markets in the world right now that are somewhat down.
So my next question is not about Uzbekistan, it's about the US. And you alluded to the ability of the US to be the safe haven that people come to when there is a crisis. One aspect of that is what now late French minister calls the exorbitant privilege, the fact that the US can borrow a lot and there's always a demand for its debt. Now, the US is making a lot of use of its exorbitant privilege these days. The deficits are out of control, the debt is out of control, the fiscal situation is unsustainable on basically any reasonable yardstick. If it's unsustainable, will it continue to be sustained?
Well, first of all, you use the word safe haven. I don't ever use the word safe when I'm talking about investments. I don't know anything that's safe. If you do, hooray, tell me. Write it down. Give me a note. No, there's no such thing as a safe haven, a safe investment when you're talking about money and investments. So my strong advice to all of you is only invest in what you yourself know a lot about. If I tell you to invest in Uzbekistan, and you cannot find Uzbekistan on a map, do not invest in Uzbekistan. Stay with what you know. I am American. I know a little bit about America, but I know that the American stock market's at an all-time high. I don't like to invest in things that are at an all-time high. I know your parents taught you to buy low and sell high. There are many markets in the world. I mean, I invest in commodities at times, but even commodities. I mean, gold is at an all-time high. Gold has never been this high. If you want to invest in precious metals, I would suggest you invest in silver. I own silver. I would buy more silver today. See, I will show you.
He's taking notes.
Wow. Here you go. This is not a gift. This is just an example.
We're watching.
But silver is down 40% from its all-time high. Gold is at an all-time high. I own both, but I would buy silver today because if the world has a big problem again, many people will go to precious metals. I'm an old peasant, and all of us peasants know we need some silver in the closet. We need some gold under the bed. But there are other things, cotton, wheat, oil, many other kinds of commodities. And in the world in which we live today, I had rather own commodities than stocks in most countries in the world. But they're bonds, they're currencies, You can invest in US dollars if you want to invest in currencies. I hope all of you will learn about the other investments besides just stocks in Korea or stocks in America, because there are many ways to make money, and I would urge you to start thinking about maybe some other things.
I'd like each of you to give a very brief response to a very complex question. Where in the world at this point do you see financial stability risk?
Well, I will go back to the world right now. Most financial markets are booming. And in my experience, when everybody's happy, it's a time for me to worry. One of the few places that I know is Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan was a Soviet republic. It was ruined by the Russians. It was ruined by the communists. But now there's a new crowd of people in Uzbekistan who are running things the way that Emil would run things. Maybe that's right, maybe not. But if you cannot find Uzbekistan on a map, do not invest in Uzbekistan. You must invest in what you know if you're going to be successful.
What do you guys think about Jim Rogers' assessment of the current market right now? Do you think the stock market is overpriced? Please leave your comment below. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you for making it this far. If you like this video, you might want to share it with a like-minded friend. Thank you, and as always, stay blessed.